Thoughts on Final Fantasy VII trailer? Oh man, my Twitter feed exploded today when I checked out the Final Fantasy VII trailer. I woke up today and that was the first thing I saw. That was the first thing I saw today, was the Final Fantasy VII trailer. Oh my god, so cool. So you have Cloud. They revealed Cloud cross-dressing, of course, something super could be controversial, like could be trendy. I don't know what's the right word for it or how to put it in the right words, but yeah, the cross-dressing scene was shown today on Twitter or on YouTube, wherever you would watch it, and people are just reposting just that. Forget about everything else that was shown on the trailer. Forget the song. The song was my biggest reveal. I think the song that they created was "Survive the Prophet." I love that. You know, if you guys, the guy who sings "Survive the Prophet," I believe did a single or a song on the game "Let It Die" too. "Survive" Set the Prophet. Okay, yes, he's a very good singer. So the song with Nobu or Matsu is great to Hollow. That's a perfect name for Final Fantasy VII's ending theme, Hollow. That's great. That's amazing. It describes Cloud's just the character so well. I love it. But of course everybody's talking about the the cross-dressing, that Cloud's finally cross-dressing. He shows up to the honeybee and they kind of just pull him in, and they sit him down and they give him these pigtails and they give him makeup, they put lipstick on him. The guys explain to him that beauty is he describes to him what beauty is. People are talking about, he's talking about trans rights, blah blah blah, this and that. No, the guy is just explaining, answering or explaining what beauty is to Cloud. I guess it's something that he wants Cloud to adopt, but it's not something that he's really adopting. He is carrying with his Buster Sword, or the great sword that he has on his back. So not only is he carrying the things about soldier, honor, dreams, and all that stuff, but he's also carrying this thing called beauty, and he's carrying it on his back. So it's his back. His back. Your back is supposed to be something you could lean on, something you could depend on, something that's strong. So he has the great sword on his back, and he's carrying things like dreams, honor, and he also has to carry beauty as well. So it's a lot of things on him, and hopefully maybe by the end he becomes closer to who he is in Advent Children. But at the same time, that's also because of Geostigma. So maybe they'll probably talk about Geostigma in the remake as well, if they connect everything, and also talk about Zack Fair, Soldier, and Geo, Genesis, Project G, and all those other things as well. Hopefully they do, even though 7's mostly about Sephiroth and Cloud and everyone else as well, but they need to talk a lot about Sephiroth and Cloud. Really super important, because you can say that Cloud's the main character of 7, but you what is it, but it's you could say it's actually Sephiroth. Sephiroth is the main character. It's about Sephiroth, not Cloud. But you can also say it's about everyone. It's about friendship. But then you can also change it again and say that 7's not about friendship. It's about the worst people that could live on this planet and how they're killing it and destroying it. But these are all things that I'm talking about: Sephiroth, his friends, Avalanche, the Ancients. The story is being carried by one man named Cloud with the great sword, the Buster Sword. So yeah, so not only is Cloud carrying beauty, but he's also carrying dreams, soldier, all that other stuff on his back as well. So hopefully he doesn't drag it on the floor and all that stuff, and he falls over because it's too heavy for him to bear. So yeah, that was a really important, one of the important things. When people were talking about, oh, he's talking about, there's Square Enix talking about transgender rights, etc., etc., this and that, but I think they completely missed the message completely. It's because he's carrying all that on him, and the thing is, he has to carry this as well, right? But he also has to feel it. He has to feel it, and it's almost impossible for him because, well, you can say that he's hollow, but I would like to say the person that's kind of hollow is Zack Fair, which I'm so surprised that they call the song hollow, but they're saying that Cloud's the one that's actually hollow, which is super surprising to me. but it's also like predictable. Like, oh, of course you would say Cloud is hollow, but I've been saying Zack Fair was the one that was hollow, not Cloud, because Zack actually had his back to Jenova and not the Buster Sword. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, yo. Man, what else was there? I'm trying to remember, yo. Like, where was I at? I lost my train of thought, guys. I'm really sorry, but like, yeah, there's so much to really digest from that trailer, especially the song. The song is perfect. But yeah, people are talking about the cross-dressing stuff and saying like, oh yeah, trans rights and all this stuff, but it's actually being carried by one man and his big sword on his back and spiky hair, and he looks super cool. You could look at him and say that he's beautiful. And he has his dreams on his back, and he's a soldier. He's a tough guy. He likes kids. He's a superhero. He's all this stuff, yo. He's all of it. But he's not actually it, because he doesn't feel it. That's what I was trying to say, that he doesn't feel it because of the Jenova cells, Sephiroth cells, the Mako energy, all that stuff, the poisoning, everything that he went through, the sickness, it just completely changed him. Even altered his memory. His memory is different. He not even sure who he is. So you give him this responsibility to carry all this on his back, on his shoulders, whatever you want to put it. It's his shoulders, on his back, it's on his wrists, it's on his shoes, it's on his pants, it's on his shirt, it's on his hair, everything, yo. So yeah, yo, like, I'm not sure, man. I don't know how else to put it. Like, so yeah, the Great Sword, the story of the Great Sword. That's where you see at the end of Advent Children, at the very end, past the credits, Cloud puts the Buster Sword, which is also 200 years later. He puts it where he puts the Buster Sword in place where the spring is and the church in the slums. He places the Buster Sword there, and the Eris, I guess church was, or the church that she would go to, where there was a flower bed. At the end of Advent Children, there's like a 10-second scene clip or whatever, the Buster Sword in place, and it's like that shows that there's a story here, where this one guy and his friends save the world, and this guy cares about kids, he cares about beauty, he cares about his dreams, and all that stuff. But does Cloud really feel all this? Does he feel happy? Does he feel sad? Does he feel excited? Or is it just Sephiroth talking? Is it Sephiroth taking control of him as a puppet to do what he wants, and then time's up, bring me the black material because I'm gonna end the world, you know? So you could also put it like he's like Hiro Yui from Gundam Wing, that he's just target Seko Shimashita, target destroyed, returning to base, which is Cloud. Like, if you really do play the Japanese version, look at the Japanese version of Final Fantasy VII, he's just, the way he talks is different, and he speaks, he says target Seko Shimashita, which target destroyed, returning to base, which is the typical, like, generic line to say, I guess. It's the typical thing for a character like him to say, and it makes him sound super boring, but he is that. He is that. He is designed to be like that. So let's see here. What else, man? I'm just like running around and trying to get my thoughts together. So let's see here. I wanted to continue talking about that, but I can't. I'm lost, at a loss for words right now. I try to get as much as I could out of that, like trying to explain that honeybee end scene to you know, to my audience. But everybody was saying they talk about trans rights and stuff like that. So I guess you can say that he is carrying that, but the thing that he's not, it's not trans rights, it's the word beauty, or beautiful, I guess, or just the word beauty is Cloud carries it.
Great work, partner.
You know, but it's not that himself that he is beauty, it's the symbol of it is on his back, that it's his back, so he carries it. I don't know how else to explain that, yo. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people got their own interpretations and feeling of what they're saying and stuff like that about it, which is great. You know, of course, everybody can say this, say how you feel, of course, obviously. But of course, I'm pretentious, so I don't want anybody to say how they feel about Cloud. Because Cloud's the coolest. I'm Cloud. I project myself into that character. I like to think and tell myself I'm Cloud. Really, which is funny, right? Cloud does the same thing. He says that he's Zack Fair, that he is his living legacy. His loving legacy, not his loving legacy. His living legacy. I am your living legacy. And he carries it. And it's super heavy. It's a big sword. He's cut up. He's bleeding. He's been cut to the face, the arm, the liver, everywhere. He still stands up. He carries the great sword. It's not heavy at all. And it's crazy because Cloud is able to pick this up. It's stupid, yo. If you see Cloud like cutting with one hand, like he does cross slash, and cross slash he uses two hands. His fighting style is supposed to be two-handed with the greatsword. It's so dumb what they did in this. They made him do cross slash, but he cuts first with two hands, and then he lets go of the Buster Sword, and he's using it with one hand, like it's a short sword. You're not supposed to carry the Buster Sword with one hand. It's supposed to be very heavy for Cloud to carry. He has to carry it with two hands. If he carries it with one hand, then it makes it meaningless. It doesn't make it seem like he feels anything or he cares about it. He has to carry the Buster Sword with two hands. That is the whole point of it. So his fighting style is always carrying the greatsword with two hands. If he lets go of it and he's fighting it with one hand, then it's not heavy enough for him to carry. But it's funny because you can write it in the story as well and say that, well, of course, obviously Cloud can carry the Buster Sword with one hand. He's that strong. But it's even if he's that strong, even if he's super powerful, like how they project him to be, he's supposed to still only carry the greatsword with one hand. I mean, with two hands, not with one hand. Excuse me. He's supposed to carry the Buster Sword with two hands, not one. So when I see his fighting style changes to one-handed, it's like, man, we're not even there yet. Come on, he's not supposed to be wielding that thing with one hand. This isn't Advent Children where he can start wielding it with one hand and almost carry it like it's forward, and then he also carries it with the hilt with the blade facing back, and he changes it, right? So it's like, it's man, it's crazy, yo. I just don't know. He shouldn't ever carry the Buster Sword with one hand, ever. He has to carry it with two hands. That's his fighting style, and that's me trying to record the data as close as possible to the original, but it's a remake, of course. But people would understand that. And that's the same thing too. There's another argument too I'll bring up in a second. Yes, Cloud is supposed to only carry the greatsword, the Buster Sword, with two hands. Only. The only time that he lets go of it is when he does his victory, his peace sign, where he spins it with one hand and he puts it on his back. That's the only time ever where he could only let go of the Buster Sword. When he's not fighting, he carries it up with one hand. And when he wins, he picks it up with one hand and he spins it and he puts it on his back. That's the only time ever when he should ever let go of it two-handed. The only time he does that. Every other time when he fights, he has to carry it with two hands. I don't care how awkward it looks or anything like that. But of course, he does cross slash, and the original cross slash is with two hands on the hilt. In this one, he only does it with one, which sucks, yo. And another thing too, there's this another argument where the limit breaks. Let's say cross slash together. Somebody will show up and say, no, Cloud doesn't say cross slash. And it's just like, no, what do you mean? Cloud does say cross slash. He does say it. He does say the name of his moves when he does them. I would say he does, obviously. He can say the name of his moves because you also project yourself into the character, so it would make sense that Cloud would say cross slash or omni slash or braver. Like as soon as he gets his power up, and it does the limit break, it does the sound effect, he'll say braver, or he'll say cross slash. But then there's people that say, of course, obviously, that no, he doesn't say. You're not supposed to say cross slash. No, don't say cross slash. He's supposed to be really quiet and just say ha. But if you really, really look at the lines closely, he does say the name of his limit breaks.